So what's up? How you doing today? We're going to take a look at Crazy Fingers from the Grateful Dead and get beyond the melody, meaning we're going to just dissect the scales and the arpeggios we might want to use for soloing in the song. We've got two parts, the verse section that the solo goes over, and then the jam part at the end, which is very different. So let's first go over the verse part, and let's give a listen to me playing over this. I'm going to try to do my best to not play the melody at all, even though this is such a good one, I'm going to be tempted, but try to just play scales and arpeggios, and I'm going to break down what it is, and I'm going to do the same thing for the jam section at the end, and at the end I'll have both parts that you can practice this stuff along with the backing track yourself with all the scale charts and arpeggio charts as well. So first, let's check out the verse, and we'll break down what's going on. So this one is in G, but it starts on a D. So some people might argue it's in D. It's definitely not D major because it goes to a C chord right away. You could say it's D mixolydian, but I'm going to say it's G because it sounds very restful on that G. And because of what comes later, I'll get to in a second, it makes more sense to me to think of it as G. So we've got D, C, and G. So we can just use the G major scale for all of that. So we can play it anywhere, but let's just focus up here. This is where I, for the previous video in this series, wrote the melody, which I don't want to play. We don't want to get this in our head for now. We want to just get away from that. We're going to just focus on scales and whatnot. We're going to kind of analyze it and figure out what's going on here. So we've got this G major scale area. We can play here, again, anywhere else if we want to. And then for those first three chords, and then it's going to go to B flat and F, and you could say B flat, but I'm going to say, to me, it sounds more like it's going to F, and that makes sense of it just moving down a whole step. I mean, you can even hear the melody, how the melody, again, we're not supposed to focus on the melody, but it's obviously important, it all ties together. The melody keeps descending down, for the first, part of it anyways. So if you're going from G, you just take everything down 2 frets. That works for those 2 chords, but then it switches to F minor, where we can play the F minor scale, and I've got that all written out, but I would really recommend just playing the F minor arpeggio, so just the notes of that F minor chord. You could play them like this, or we could play them in a more familiar spot like right here. So you can play just these 3. I like this arpeggio a lot, this shape, because it just fits on your fingers real nicely. So if you're going along, get down to here. And then you just outline that, and now it sounds, it sounds like you're just playing right along with the chords. And then after that, we're going back to that G sus, or I should say going back to, hitting it for the first time, then back to the G. And you could, play G down here after the, or something, or come back up here. I think when I was doing my example, I was just trying to come back up here a lot to focus and stress on this spot and show you how you don't need to go all over the place to sound like you're playing with the tune. I could have even done everything right here. You can just stay in one hand position the whole time. Don't have to move at all. But this actually is a good one to show you how you can take it and then move 2 frets, and then make little adjustments for the chords that are really out there, like the F minor and stuff. But then the second half, now it's going to B flat to B minor, and to me, because it's going B flat to B minor, it sounds more like it's really in B flat and not just F, which would be the 4 chord. B flat would be the 4 chord of F. It sounds like it's fully on to B flat. So if we're down in this section here or back up here, we could play, say here, we could play like this for our B flat, and then for B minor, we could switch to B minor, or we could just do the arpeggio again. So you could go like, and then it goes to, I'm sorry, I was thinking it was going to the F, to the G, but then it goes to an E flat major 7. You can play it here, you can play it here, this chord, and that switches, I think, back to the B flat major. So your B flat major, B flat minor, back to that B flat major. It's just the 4 chord in B flat major, and then it goes to C minor over a G. So it's like playing a C minor like this, but the bass feels really hitting that G quite a bit, stressing that more. So like that, but that's not even that important. You can just play the C minor, play the C, the root, whatever. And you could do that also up here, here, and to me that functions as like the 2 chord in B flat. So B flat's 1, E flat major 7, or just E flat, whatever, 4 chord, C minor is the 2 chord. And that would all be B flat. So you could play arpeggios, but you could just play that B flat. Totally works. And then back to G. Or up here. So now you're back to G, and you can play it wherever. You could go back to the original spot up here. And that's it. I shouldn't just say that's it. That was a lot of stuff. So depending on where you are at in your development of guitar, you might have been like, oh, that was easy. I already knew that, or you might have, your head maybe just exploded. I don't know. But take it real slow. That's why I like the practice backing tracks. You can try it out. Just try it real slow. Just try one note at a time. Don't even worry about the whole scale. Certainly don't think of the whole map. Just think of it like that. It's a map, and when you go somewhere, like I went on a road trip, the other day of Canada. I shouldn't say of Canada. It was a small section, although it was still, it's the second largest country in the world in terms of area. So it was a small part of Canada, but it was, it was long stretches, And if, say, I didn't have a phone and I had just an old school map of the whole country, I wouldn't need the whole map because we weren't going all around. If we've all of a sudden felt impromptu, like, oh, let's go further, we've got that, and that's great, but we only need that, real section that we're going in, So it's the same thing here. It's like I got it mapped out, the whole, 12 frets on the guitar, and then it's like if you want to go further up, you just, translate that. It's all the same up there. But so we get the whole thing really, but we don't need the whole thing. We just need whatever we need, just a little area if you want to just do a little bit. So keep it real simple, So on to the next section though. Let's first give it a listen. It's just using G major scale, but let's just give a little listen to a quick excerpt of me playing along with that G major scale, and I'll break down what's going on there. So this one is just, like I said, G major scale. So we've got that whole map, like I was saying, but we don't need the whole thing. And this one's a lot more straightforward. It's just, you know, G, then to the G sus chord, and all that sus chord is doing is just adding a C, the sus 4 note. And so when our playing, we don't have to even think about it if we want to. We could just be thinking more about the B when we're on that first chord, which is the major third of G, and then that C. Whatever. So it's kind of more open-ended. You can just kind of play around, think of different scale patterns, things like that. You know, throw in some arpeggios, you know, to hit those exact notes here and there. But really, all that is just the difference of, you know, the B on the first one on G, and then C is the different note for this G sus chord. So not much different there. So yeah, just experiment around, try things, playing thirds, you know, fourths, whatever, different intervals, and have fun with it. You know, experiment around these two. I'm going to put the verse part for you to play along with a couple times, and then the long jam part, so you can try it out yourself. So have fun with it, and I will see you in the next video.